morning.
Wow,
Yeah, I'm
that's a lot of
excited.
people to kick the day off.
Yes, yes, and we're gonna wait for a few more minutes because it's a Monday morning, so things might take a little while longer. Morning,
Absolutely.
everybody. I don't know if you read my uh, message or not about. I think you have about the webcam because Alex and I are the only two brave people with a webcam on. Same with your microphone. Feel free to unmute yourself for asking questions when we have time. If this is many of you have met me before, but for those of you who haven't, we go informal always. We're gonna give another wait for another couple of minutes to let the others join if anybody is late. And then Alex is going to say a couple of words, which is amazing. So that the nerve-wracking
Literally just a
task
couple of
of
words. This is
getting this
great. This is like
started.
lockdown vibes kind of thing. Like we were just saying beforehand, it's been so long since we've done like one of these sort of informal Zooms kind of thing where people can hop in and ask questions and stuff.
I really love it. I have to be honest with you. Even with the business assessment, I'll put the link in the chat later for those who need it. I feel this year has been amazing because I've had the chance of meeting so many new people with that and having this kind of we can do this vibe. I love it.
Yeah.
Really love it. It's good. Um, do you want to get started or you want to grab for everybody? Actually, we're going to give you 2 extra minutes, coffees, teas, notebooks, if you're a pen and paper person like me. Um, and then Alex is going to get started. Another coffee. Yeah, bring me one, please. Morning, Deb. See, we have to brave with a webcam on. Victoria is always my visual anchor because she's even in our app she always has the webcam on. There's a
But also
few.
has managed to suck entirety of light out of being and presented itself in like this amazing silhouette.
You'll be able to see that if you look carefully outside, though. You'll be able to spot lots of animals behind
I was
me.
going to say it's going to get distracting because I can see chickens and stuff in the background there.
You'll be able to see rabbits and guinea pigs. Yeah.
Amazing.
She's as dark as my soul. It's perfect. Perfect, perfect. I'm in Italy, by the way, and I am boiling. So if you see me getting even redder than this, it's because I am boiling. Absolutely. Hate me, but it's
Being
too
the sort
hot.
of stereotypical northern lad that I am, I managed to get sunburnt yesterday down here in Western-super-Mare. I got like a really nice red neck. Like honestly, my views are progressive, but that is quite spectacular.
Should we get started?
Let's go for it.
Yeah, I'll let you talk and I'll go and check if anybody has messaged me because they're having trouble to join.
No problem. Well, like Julia said, it's just going to be a few brief words from myself because you're not here to see me waffle on. You're here to listen to Julia. Thank you very much for everyone for logging in on a Monday morning. We really, really appreciate it. And a huge thanks to Julia for taking time out to be able to put on these sessions for free. It's a massively important subject, I feel. I think all of us can see online that there's a negativity creeping into sort of people's posting habits, and people are finding it tougher or just different to how it was pre-pandemic even, and then leading up to the last couple of years. So I think what Julia's done to try and address this, have a look at it and show that there can be positive changes made to your business. There can be actionable things that you can put into work straight away, and there's no need for the sort of the fear. It's just a case of understanding what's going on and how best to combat it. So when she approached us to see if she wanted to do this workshop with us, I couldn't wait. I think it's hugely important. And like I say, huge, massive thanks to Julia for going ahead with this. So I'm going to mute myself now. I'll be around if there's any lab specific questions or anything like that. You want to know how we're combating certain things or how we see things changing within the industry, I'll be around at the end. But for now, I'll leave it with Julie's capable hands. Cheers.
Thank you. And I am actually, as I said, very excited because I can honestly say, and this is I'm not bragging, but this has been a really good year, for some photographers. We don't hear very often from them, and there are reasons for that. But it has been a good year with many changes. So I'm excited because the more we can get the message across and the more you can talk with your friends and explain to them how things are changing and that there are photographies and that, but we'll address that later, the better it is. I'm also grateful though, because I know, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, that these are or can be unsettling times. They can be uncertain times, are unsettling, and they are difficult to navigate. So the fact that you trust us, that you trust me to help you, even though in this short and small form, fills me with gratitude. And obviously I'm grateful to Alex because he always listens to my crazy ideas. So we're going to start from today, but as you know, there is a second part. Don't panic if you're not able to stay today for the whole duration. If you're not able to join the second call, email me. I will send you a link to the recording, but obviously try to be here to stay for as long as you can, because you get a chance of asking questions. I am going to share my screen and let me know if you can all see it. Can you all see the orange? Actually, put it in the chat if you cannot see it. Alex, can you help me if you aren't? If they aren't, can you give me a shout? Because I'm definitely getting...
I mean, I can see it fine. Message from
Perfect.
Hannah, she can see it.
Perfect.
Thumbs up from Deb.
We've gone for the bright orange this time and not the blue. Okay, good. Perfect. So let's start from why we're here, and then I will give you an idea of how we've split this webinar in two and why. So these are the things that I think you might have heard or experienced in the last probably 6 months more than ever, I would say. So decrease in organic inquiries, and the explanation that you might have given yourself for what you're seeing is that people are struggling, so they are cutting down on luxuries, they don't have money to spend, and so on. People shop around more, so you end up being ghosted, or people take so much longer to make decisions. The feeling you might have is that they only want cheap, they want discount, and that's what they're looking for. Then this is something that's been happening actually for much longer than 6 months. Last minute, there might be some who aren't newborn photographers. You are welcome here, because what we're going to discuss is applicable to most markets, even outside of photography, but obviously for photography, especially for studio, portrait, family, newborn, and for weddings as well, although that is changing a little bit. So last minute bookings for newborns, that means we've gone from 7, 8 years ago when I started, it was, you could get bookings 3, 4 months in advance. And now people are like, baby was born last week. I need a session tomorrow morning. And this has been going on for ages. social media reach is awful. So we need to basically have a clone that is able to create content all day, every day for us to put on our pages. So I am seeing it even for pet photography, the last minute thing, but obviously the dynamics are a bit different there. But the other elements you should have seen or heard from others. I mean, I don't want to, there might be people here who are doing incredibly well and have been this year. Well done for that. But these are trends that I'm sure you've read in groups and so on. And so you might be worried about, oh, when is that going to hit me? So we will address this from a business point of view, but this is the key. And this is why I'm really excited. When we as business owners, we experience these things and we don't have the background to understand really why these things are happening, this is what we experience. So the fear, the stress, the resentment, because we hate these clients who are just shopping around. We become a bit more jealous. And what I am sensing also is that there is a sense of community that is lost, or we're losing it because of these things. And this is what we're going to try and do. So we're going to try and do with this, or achieve this with knowledge. I want you to really understand why these things are happening, because there is a lot more than the cost of doing crisis, living crisis, or AI. There is a lot more. And if you don't know me, I've been working with photographers for 7, 8 years. I've worked in studio, but my background is in marketing and sales in general, different industries. So we want to look at the knowledge that you need and give you the knowledge you need to understand why these things are happening. And that will be, or will help you then understand why we will change things, or I will ask you to change things in a specific way. So today is a lot more about understanding the causes and understanding what is going on, how we need to tweak our marketing. And then the second call will be a lot more practical. But I ask you, if you can, to stay with us today, because this is how, today is how we actually fight the fear, the stress, and everything. It will help you making sense of things. By the way, for those of you who don't know me, you can call me G. The way you read my name, which is spelled this way, is Giulia, just the Italian way of spelling it, but please call me G. I prefer that. And again, any questions, feel free to put in the chat, and even unmute yourself if you want. I'm not precious. So what is really happening? I want you to follow me here, because what you see today started a long time ago. Some of you have heard from me part of this, because actually this started, what we see today started a long time ago, 2020, 2019, 2020. Messy middle, you've heard me talking about this many times, but for those of you who have not, let's talk about this a little bit. So most of the stats, although I tried really hard to keep this not too boring and not too technical, most of the stats that we are using today are taken from research that is available on a website called Think with Google, is where Google publishes the research and marketing insights and all that, available for everybody to read. But there are some of these, like the messy middle specifically, is very long research, is I think 50, 70 pages. So I'm giving you a bit of a shorter version. So before we go into this, let's recap this for a moment. So decrease in organic inquiries, people shopping around more. These are the things we need to understand. Shopping around and taking longer to make decisions. The last minute bookings, so they get in touch closer to when they need the shoot, and compared to what they did before. And if they get in touch in advance, they then disappear sometimes for ages, even when they then get back to you and actually book. And social media, what do we do with it? Is it true that we need to create content all the time? These are the things that we're going to try and understand, so that we stop feeling like this is the result of photography dying, or everything falling apart. Okay, so we start from pandemic, messy middle. So Google looked at how people shop online now for products and services. This is why it's important with you, versus before the pandemic. And again, this started, it might feel to you like, oh, that's a long time ago, but it's still affecting us. You'll see why. So the customer journey used to be, I am interested in something, I go to Google, I search, I do my research, I visit the first few websites, maybe the first page, I look at websites, and then I get in touch with the photographer because I want information. The people will take the time to read your website. We were also used to reading more. We'll touch on this later. But then they will get in touch with you. And what the pandemic did, it changed this habit into, we do our own research without contacting you, or rather, your potential clients will do their own research before contacting you. What is even the reason why they call it messy middle is they don't do the research in Google only, but they do it across platform. So you might get the same number of visitors onto your website that you used to get 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but fewer inquiries, because they will move from your website to your social media. And the reason why they do that is they want to look at your reviews, they want to look at comments, they want to look at more aspects. And what is the next thing that's going to happen once they do that? They're going to start seeing ads from other photographers. So the next day they open the Facebook, their Instagram, and they will see ads from you if you are advertising, or for from other photographers if you aren't advertising. So the reason why they call it messy is exactly this. You used to be able to rank really well in Google, and that was almost a guarantee that you would get inquiries and possibly enough bookings to be okay. That's not the case anymore, because you can rank really, really well in Google and then drive traffic to social media. You aren't advertising and others are actually getting your bookings, because with more photographers advertising, more photographers doing offers, if you are not present there, you might miss out on those bookings that you've triggered in Google. This is why it's messy. It's because putting all our efforts into one platform isn't enough anymore. Let's go back to fear for a moment. You have seen, I am sure, some big names in the industry telling and explaining that they are struggling. Now, I want you here to take a moment to breathe. Maybe the reason why they are struggling, and we can probably we can say this with certainty, because I know quite a few of them, it's not that the industry is dying, but it's the fact that many of the photographers who started, let's say the old generation, I apologize, you're not old, but the people who started some types of photography in the UK, they invested heavily on the website and relied on their websites to generate bookings. And they did, and they were doing incredibly well, so much that they've become our point of reference and role models for how to run a business. But because of that, they didn't realize that there were a whole new generation of photographers who are actually going in other direction, advertising social media a lot more. And when changes in behavior, deeper changes in behavior happened, they started to feel that a lot more than others. So this is not to say they've done anything wrong or they aren't smart, but this is a reminder for all of us that A, we need knowledge, and B, that we cannot ever be complacent in business. The fact that things are going well doesn't mean it's not a guarantee that it will keep going well. So, okay, we said people do research cross platform, and they do it without getting in touch with you. The second point is also important. I just want to mention this because it will become useful in a moment. So the second point, I will send you these slides, by the way. What that means in terms of user behavior is people are not just comparing prices online, but they are also they are actually shopping around. So what you think is happening, the shopping around is happening 100%, but you'll see in a moment that shopping around doesn't mean looking for cheap. In fact, data shows us something very different. So they want social proof, they look at reviews, including social media reviews, features, they want to read comments and all of that. So messy middle 2021, this started back then a long time ago, but we see the results of that still now. People do their own research, they shop around, they use multiple platforms and so on. And this means that people might get in touch, but then they will take their time to shop around and research, and also means that one platform on its own, like website, is not a guarantee that you will get bookings anymore. And if you are seeing a decrease in inquiries, keep this in mind, because it's not people are not interested anymore, but they are still around. I would like for you to take a screenshot of this, although, as I said, you will receive the slides. This is Google telling us they have all interest in saying, oh, everybody's using Google for their decisions, but they're actually saying this is not the case. Google themselves moved part of their marketing and advertising budget to social media platforms. So we need to keep these in mind, and we're going to go to the next step. And before we do that, please, if you have any questions, I hope you're all still awake, give me a shout, put it in the chat. And also if this is too technical or so and you have questions, just put it in the chat. Alex, are you still here?
Yes, just unmuted, just listening.
Okay, I just give me feedback in the sense that, do you feel this is too technical? I don't want to bore people with marketing stuff.
I mean, I'm following. Don't want to show off or
Okay.
anything.
Good. That's okay. If there's anything that's unclear, please shout.
If anything does pop up, or if anyone puts a question in the chat, I'll give you a shout. Okay.
Thank you, because I can't see anything, so
Yeah.
I'm just. Good. Second step number 2. Oh, wrong arrow. Those things we discussed started, and then the pandemic made it even worse, in the sense that those habits became the norm, because all of a sudden we went from using a little bit of Amazon and so on to being forced for basically 2 years, 3 if you were, 2.5 if you were in Italy, to shop online for everything. And we have also learned that if we spend our time doing research online, we can get the best quality for the best price. Keep this in mind. This is huge. So if we shop around, we can get the best quality for the best price, exactly what we want at the best price, because we have options and we know how to find them, how to find those options. This is just a recap or rather confirmation that those things we just mentioned became and are now the norm. This is how people shop for everything. We compare online, we look at social proof, not only the features and the price, and we spend more time considering options. Okay, now this is where the cost of living comes in. And this is really, if I could put this message and ask you to share one thing from this presentation and from these two webinars, and remember one, is this, please. Again, we're talking about research published by Google, looking at habits and so on. So obviously, just because we said the world is falling apart and we have wars and all sorts of stuff, we've had the pandemic, and then the consequences are still felt, and they're getting probably worse in terms of inflation, cost of living crisis, and all of that. It's been a huge roller coaster for us and our clients alike. So this is something that we need to understand and remember from a marketing point of view. People spending habits will change way before they have less money to spend. The moment that we feel we have less disposable income or less money, or we fear that we might have less, our habits change. Nothing to do with photography, nothing to do with it. But that also means that people are still spending. In fact, this is what I'm saying, working with photographers. I cannot tell you, I've had this conversation with Alex. We changed the pricing structure for many of the people in the coaching. The average sales have gone up and people are spending a lot more than they used to, but they spend in a different way. Trust me on this, because I say this with the confidence of working with photographers who aren't even people who enjoy pressuring clients. So we don't do hard sales or anything like that. People have money and they still spend money, but in a different way. So we will address this. If you're following me, we will address bookings, we will address how people spend, what to do about it, and so on. So the research process now is not just I want to compare options, but also I want to ensure that I've learned that I can get the best quality for the best price. Now, it's not just that I do it because I want to be smart, but because I also don't want to spend £50 more if I can save that £50. I don't want cheap. I'm just mindful in the way I spend. So before spending I'm sure it's the same for you, same for me. Before spending £300-400, £1,000, whatever your prices are, if you're wearing your client's shoes, you would take your time much longer than it was before. This is important, and I want you to screenshot this and put it in your, like, print it and have it in your room. There is an increase. There is nothing that shows that people want cheap. They search more for, or there are more searches for best. This has been a trend that started with the pandemic. People don't look for cheap. Again, they look for best. Not everybody, but this is a trend. Yeah. Okay. This is more good news. And I hope this will help you understand. Again, this is our background for decisions that we will need to be making together about your marketing and business. So 73% of consumers, this is worldwide, are willing to stick and to stay with companies, businesses who are increasing their prices if they feel valued as a customer. We will come back or get back to valued, because I'm sure you're all thinking, well, of course, I value my customers, and I'm sure you do. But what that looks like from on the receiving end might be slightly different. Third, the consumers, again, are spending more time making decisions, considering more brands. Yes, they are shopping around, and considering more stores and retailers. This is the same. Other good news for those of you who might feel like, oh, people just want cheap. 53% of consumers are more likely to buy for quality and durability versus affordable products. 72% of consumers, the vast majority, are being more thoughtful. So I'd love to hear from you if you can. I know there's a lot now of information that's being given to you. I would like to hear a little bit of feedback. Feel free to put your mic on. Is this making sense? Do you is it clearer now? Because I say to you, don't be scared. You guys, all of you, I see lots of names that I know have been the reference and really, in a way, the role model, or the ones who built an industry based on quality, based on taking care of everything, and so that everything is amazing with your business and the service that you give your clients. This is not the time to give up on that, because people aren't looking for cheaper. This is the time, though, to communicate these values to your clients in a different way, and potential clients in a different way.
I'll just jump in quickly, actually,
Yes.
if that's all right, G, because what you're saying makes sense from like a purely stats point of view from what we're seeing at the lab.
Mm-hmm.
And this is in no way trying to make anyone feel bad or anything like that, but we've seen an increase in wall art, albums, sort of the higher end products over the last sort of 2 to 3 years. So it's kind of went against what we expected it to. With you look at the state of the country and stuff, and you think, all right, everyone's struggling, wages are stagnant, sort of inflation's high, luxury businesses and luxury products are going to be the first things that are cut off. But what we've found is, entirely backing up with what you said, is that people are shopping around more, people are actually looking for something durable, something that lasts. Even when you break down the kind of the different product options and stuff like that, some of the more expensive variants of a product outsell the cheaper options sort of 10 to 1. I'm thinking like the sort of acrylic Camdens as opposed to the sort of standard photographic one. And it's maybe split across a wider amount of photographers. So we might be selling less to certain photographers that were high spend customers, but the spread, and like what you rightly said, a lot of new faces and a lot of new businesses that have come on board, that have maybe they've looked at the situation for what it is, and they're tackling it with the tools that they have to address it now, not sort of hark back to what it used to be like, kind of thing. So from like a purely numbers sort of way, what you're saying makes sense to me.
And I want to invite everybody to do an exercise ahead of our next call. And I'm Victoria is here. She gave me the idea for this, in a way. I see. We were talking about resentment and fear and so on, and I've seen so many posts against, cheaper photographer, and every single time that I speak with someone who isn't a client, one of the first things I hear is, oh, there's so many cheap photographers. I've seen this or that person doing, £80 for 250 digitals. I would ask you to completely forget about those people and completely forget. This is a big shift in your mindset. You cannot afford to think or to tell yourself that you are better than those, and the people that the service you offer and that the quality and so on is better compared to those, because in the pool or range of options that people will be exploring when it comes to booking with you, they might not even be taken into consideration. And if they are, and somebody ends up booking with them, there is no way for you to convince somebody who wants to spend £80 to spend 1,000. It's a completely different audience. These are
that's almost like you've timed it with a comment that just popped here. So Carolina said, a lot of my clients share their experience of having used other photographers in the past or have been approached when looking to book this time, and say how pushy they are, how clients feel like just a number and a pressure to buy with no personal touch. Also, photographers not taking feedback and requests into consideration. So what I say, experience really matters all throughout the process, not so much the price.
Absolutely. But also when it comes to experience, this is, Alex, you know, we've started talking about this 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
I kept saying the fact that you have on your website experience, train, and so on, it's good to have it there, but it doesn't make a difference, because the reality is that your real competitors are also experienced, trained, and offer amazing quality. Nobody's going to put on their website, you know, I might smack you in the head with a heart ball, but I'm cheap, so book with me. Nobody says that. So this is the trick, though, and this is what your mindset shift. You need to ask yourself why somebody who could book a photographer that's better than me should book with me. This is the real question. Because the reality is, although you're all obviously the quality that you offer is amazing, is that people might have the option to book somebody who in certain part or areas is slightly ahead of you, and they are £50 cheaper. So the real marketing and the real mindset is, why should they book with me instead? If I'm slightly more expensive and maybe I am in some areas are not as good. This is, by the way, also how or where confidence comes from. So if you want to talk a little bit more about this, I'm happy to. I see comments, Alex.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so Georgina's put, thanks for reminding me of that. Sometimes it really gets into your head. I mean, like you're saying, the sort of the perception that you're getting undercut all the time, and you're sort of like running up a hill kind of thing against these sort of, you know, I hate using the term because every photographer's got their own business model, but a shoot and burn kind of photographer. Manders said, as a startup business in the pet industry, I'm spending lots of time on social media and managed to get 2 bookings through that. I just need more. Lots of feedbacks where you're different from any of the photographers that I know. I love your work. So I think saying that there is sort of value in the kind of the stuff that she's putting out there on socials.
Mm-hmm.
And then David's popped in a sort of a piece here. The problem isn't scale, it's perceived value in a saturated market. Great photography alone is no longer enough. Most clients genuinely can't see the difference between excellent work and mediocre, not because they're stupid or disrespectful, but because visual literacy is low in the general public. The average person is overwhelmed with content. Beautiful images are everywhere, and the market is saturated. AI, smartphones, new hobbyists have devalued just photos, which is good that he's put that on, because I think we're probably going to kind of not, you know, debunk it, but sort of question some of those points there, aren't we?
Oh, absolutely, and I agree. I agree with those points. Obviously, there's no doubt, but it's also, in my opinion, about how we look at value and what value is, and what it means to stand out. There's a lot that I think needs to be addressed there, especially for those who are newborn photographers. David, I don't know if you are a newborn photographer or not.
Who, me? Sorry. No.
David, the person who wrote the problem isn't skill, it's perceived value in a saturated market. Dog photography. Okay. Okay. It's interesting because there is a huge difference. It would be amazing to have a chat with you. Obviously, the newborn photographers here have a big advantage of those they sometimes maybe don't realize, which is the emotional side of marketing for newborn photography goes deep. Now I am a dog lover and I have dogs, always had, but it's still a little different for dog photography. So there are things that the newborn photo tools or weapons that they have that needs to be slightly tweaked for dog photography. Would be really good to have a chat about this and a chat with you. If you all can put in the chat if you are what type of photography or genre you offer, it would be really good for me to know. So while you do that,
so we've got cat photographers, Amanda, Tiana's maternity mainly, Nick is dogs and families, you have Deb is newborn families, pregnancy, dogs and weddings, newborn and families, maternity, newborn and family, family, newborn and maternity, newborn and family. So there's a good mix.
Good for those of you. What's the time? Do we have time? I'll spend a moment on this before we move on. The reason why I said we need to look at what value is. So yes, we know that that people are spending time shopping around. Now we know that they aren't necessarily comparing you with the cheapest option. So they're looking in the same pool. And we also know that they are not only looking, again, they evaluate features and prices and so on, but the being value and everything else, being valued and the connection and so on. So,
Can I ask a question around value?
Yes, of course.
So, in my business, a huge chunk of my clients are existing returning clients. And I guess they already perceive my value because they come back year after year, multiple times a year. For me, these clients are tracking along with exactly what you said before. In your earlier slides, they are spending more. They are ordering more wall art. By the way, Alex, there's an order coming to you this morning, which is great. But what I have seen is a drop in new clients. My question is around how do we demonstrate that value that existing clients already know to potential new clients? And it was really interesting what you said around right at the start around Facebook and other social media, showing other photographers to potential clients. I've never even considered that. It was a bit of a light bulb moment. So I guess that's one of the main questions I've got. How do we demonstrate that?
So I hope I am a little, this might be something that sounds very different from what you hear from others. This is my approach, right? So we go into how I put my marketing knowledge into the way I work. So there is one element that is true for everybody. If you don't have inquiries, you cannot. The nature of the business that you run, and this becomes evident and extreme in a saturated market, is such that part of the value is only shown when you get to have a conversation with someone. Okay. Now, again, let's see if I can put, there's a million things in my head that I want to say. So let's start from who is in your audience? Where are they? I hope that I'm going the right way here. So you've heard me saying a million times. So if you look at your audience, these are stats cross industry. So please don't if you've read something slightly different for photography, I apologize. So 3% of your audience, potential clients, is in Google. Those are the people we call ready to book. Okay, so when I'm ready to book or to buy something, generally I still use Google. Then you have 7% of your audience that is made of people looking for recommendations. They generally go to family and friends first. And then if they don't find what they're looking for, they will move to social media, Google, and so on. Then you have 30% of your potential audience. So 3 and 7 at the top, 30% at the bottom, that's made of people who are never going to buy. Then there is a huge chunk of your audience, the biggest part, the 60% who is not ready to buy a book now. They will be ready in a few weeks or months. They are you can only reach them on social media. You can only, they are not in Google because they aren't ready, right? Only if we talk digital marketing. Now, the biggest misconception that it's a bias that we've had for years and years is that everybody kept saying the best clients come from websites because they are the best in the sense that they're ready to book. They're easy to convert, easier, they're ready to make a decision and so on. And so we didn't understand, or we didn't talk enough about what is really behind the fact that they are the best client. Sure, there's also a factor there, which is when I'm in Google, I jump through lots of hoops, I read and so on. So they are better, they are hotter people for sure. When you fish into the social media pool, you get lots of everything, right? So we used to think, oh, the best clients come from social media, and we neglected, or some of us neglected, the social media side of things. So if you think about it, last 6 months to 8 months, the number of photographers advertising, I think has been an increase like 67% or something like that, advertising on social media. Because of the pressure, you've also seen many more doing offers, doing free, doing all sorts of things. So think about it. What is happening is that 60% of people who would normally, God, I'm very Italian now. I'm getting excited. That 60% of people who would normally take their time and then become your 3%, and 4 years ago, 8 years ago, they were enough for you to run the business. Now they're stopped. They will not become your 3% because they see a free session. They see an offer. And so I might not be ready to book now, but fear of missing out. I have nothing to lose. It's a free session, I'll book. Okay, so this is why if you are not present there, you don't even get a chance of showing value because they are taken away from you before you even connect with them. So the question that everybody should ask themselves now is not where are my clients coming from, but where am I losing bookings? Where am I losing the option and the opportunity to actually connect with people? And for many of the photographers who've been in business for longer than five years, that is social media. Then if you're following, that is the first thing you need to fix. Because if you're not getting enough fresh inquiries from new clients, that is not that you can't even think about value. You can, but you need leads first, right? Now then how do I then take it to the next step and communicate that value? So there are different things that you can do, although some in my experience right now are make more of a difference than other. So
Just got a quick question from Sam here. Sorry, G.
yeah.
Does having 2 huge franchises near you make a difference? How do you combat that with your advertising?
Nobody, there is not one photographer in the whole of the UK and many other countries who doesn't have competitors, bigger, smaller, cheaper, more expensive, and so on. So does it make a difference? Yes, but everybody has their own competition. So we will get to how do I combat that for sure. We'll talk also about sometimes you have franchises and so on doing free sessions. I'm sure many of you have heard about that. So are we all going to do free sessions? Is that the only way? We'll talk about that. You're right, Janne. Yes, we're all used to much to these two things. We have less time, we are more overwhelmed. The overwhelm and also the way we consume information has changed because there is a whole generation of people who is addicted to reels. I shouldn't say a generation because it's really across generations, but especially the younger people. That's how they learn. They learn through reels. So part of what we'll address next time is well, are emails effective? Can you even afford to have a lot of information in an email? Is that communicating value? You might write the best things on an email and nobody will read it. Because again, we're not used to stats. I think if I remember correctly, we struggle to read sentences longer than 7 words. Sometimes I see email reply to inquiry with these paragraphs that are like this. Nobody's reading it. So you can try and show and put in there the best copywriting that's ever been written. Nobody will read it, or most people will not. I'll read the other 2 questions in a moment, but this is why my belief and my experience is that communicating value can only happen when you have an actual conversation with someone. And emails are not the best way of doing this. What do I mean by communicating value is you need to sure, you need to explain the level, your level of service and everything else. But this is the easiest way, or the best way for me to experience this is the real way or the easiest way of building trust so that the person in front of you understands is to explain things in a way that is so simple that they understand immediately and they do not have to wonder what you mean, go around and research. They don't feel stupid. They don't feel overwhelmed. This is how you build trust. This is not photography. It's one of the foundations forever has been of marketing. And so number 1, and number 2, the other thing is to speak a language that resonates with them. So your knowledge and you being an expert, the way of communicating that is to get people to relax when they speak with you, because it's easy to understand, it's not overwhelming, you're not trying to trick them into booking or anything. So my recommendation would be, which is a huge task for everybody because it's very different from how we used to think things, is be human. you have an agenda, or rather you have a goal, and your goal is to get clients. We shouldn't hide that. We shouldn't hide that. You shouldn't think when somebody inquires, what is the exact sentence to say here and now to convert somebody? And this is my view. This is my view, and the way I run my business, the way I work when I was working in the studio, and what I recommend. So don't look for the trick that's going to help you convert people, especially with newborn. Try to be human. Try to communicate things in a way that people understand. And I'll give you one example. Everybody gets upset or annoyed when people say that they need to speak with their partner. And then I'll let you know. And automatically we think, well, they're just saying no, right? And it might be that the vast majority of cases, they're just telling you that because they don't want to talk with you. However, how about saying, I know this is a very important decision and there's so much information for you to evaluate. So I'm sure you'll need a few days. I'll get in touch next Monday. It might be that nothing happens anyway, but what I feel on the receiving end is this, you're not trying to push me. And because of how the world is and the fact that the world is falling apart, there will be a big chunk of your audience who craves that. They don't crave pressure. They don't crave deadlines. They feel disrespected and not valued when we keep trying to, us trying to push them here and there in a soft way. They're not stupid. So they feel that. My personal approach is that is all part of value. Then comes the quality. Alex, I'm gonna look for something to show and share if you want to read me the rest in the meantime. The other questions or comments. Am I on my own? No. Have you all left?
Sorry, no. One of the great things about working from home during the week is like Anglican Windows routinely knocking on the door asking if I need new double glaze, and I'm like, I mean, stop shaming my windows, thanks. But no, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Yeah,
So
I don't
yes,
know
what do you need from me?
Nothing, because I actually read, so I'm good. And I'm ready to share. I was just looking. Can you see the landing page now?
Yes.
Can you see a landing? Okay, good. So I would again, this is an old example, so you might have read that, and regardless of the photographer we're talking about here, that is irrelevant. I want you to read this, please. So the first part of the landing page, and I want you to think about it this way. This is what experienced, fully trained and insured looks like to your clients. I'll give you a moment to read. Actually, I will read it out because some of you might struggle to read, and I'll put it in the chat as well. So this is a landing page. At some point in the landing page, it says a word on working with newborns. For a tiny newborn baby, discovering what the world and other humans feel like is such a big part of the first few days, weeks, and months of life. That is why so much care, training, and guided experience are required before a newborn photographer can be called so. Your baby cannot talk, but they will perceive how it feels to be held and touched, or even how it feels to just be around the person you have chosen as your photographer. Do they feel confident and calm? Is their touch reassuring and firm, but gentle and patient? Are they used to reading babies and their needs? This is, in your mind, what experienced, trained, and insured means. But if you don't put your clients first, meaning the baby, you cannot communicate that, because everybody will say that in your price range, everybody is trained, insured, blah, blah, blah. So the effort that you need to put into right now is, I need to generate leads. Then I need to find a way of communicating with these people that makes sense to them. This is part of service in general. And this is also how you stand out, because the biggest advantage that we have is that this is still not the standard. So if you start doing it now and you put effort into doing it now, you will be ahead of others. This is where bookings are won or lost at the moment. Not for everything, obviously, and not everybody will resonate, but then this is also part of what I've always been saying, oh, you know, I don't kill me, I don't believe in the ideal client in terms of the person who has the most money to spend or shops here, there. The way I see ideal clients is, if I put the effort into wording things in a specific way, and I put effort into being a human and being of service to my clients, those who understand that are my ideal clients. And because of that, I will be invincible, because I will be the best at serving them at that specific time. The example that I was using with Victoria, when we were also talking about confidence, I said, I am not the best marketing person. I am not the best media buying, advertising person, but I am 100% confident that for the people who work with me, I am the best, because I understand them better than anybody else. So when you put all of these things in place, you need a strong lead generation foundation. And if you're ignoring social media, you shouldn't ignore it. Once you have that in place, then you need an even stronger branding and communication that is based on conversations and not converting people. And then if you do that, things will become easier. How do we, this is a process that takes time, okay? And it's also a process that you might think, oh, well, it's all good to say, but then if somebody are doing crazy offers, they'll always win. An offer, I only see it as a way of generating leads quicker and easier, okay? So my belief is also that we are getting to a point where you cannot be the cheapest of everybody doing free sessions, or the trickiest, the one putting more tricks into the process. So this stuff is becoming even more important. Okay, so you can stop people in their tracks and fear of missing out and everything, cool. But then if you don't put these things in place, you're always, especially moving forward, going to be tied to, I need an offer, I need this, and I need that. So long-term marketing, I need to be working on this stuff. If you're drowning, you need lead generation done in a different way, and maybe something that is going to kickstart that. But this is how I see things, and at the moment, sorry, no, I'm digressing. I'll read the message and then we'll finish our presentation. When a client says they need to, okay, good question. So the affordability issue, the way that I address this normally, or I recommend doing that, there's two elements to that. Again, there might be some people who get back to you and they're actually booking with someone who's 80 pounds or 90 for everything. There's no way of discussing that. However, do we have time for this? Maybe not. I'll try to make it very short. You need to see your role, or try to see your role as don't be afraid of prices, so you can ask the question and you can discuss prices, what were you looking for, before that becomes an objection though. So make sure that that conversation is started before they get back to you with the affordability issue. So you can ask questions, and you can also ask questions around why they want a session and all of that. I don't know if you're already doing that, so it would be interesting to know. There's also another element to me that is, if you see your role as we've just said, so if you think about your role as a bigger role than just being the photographer, and what I mean by that is you are the person, the expert that is going to guide your clients through the process, to the process of ultimately creating something, you're a newborn photographer, for their baby to look at 30 years from now. Right, this is really what we're creating. It's like the example I use with Victoria is I have albums that my dad printed when I was a week old, 2 weeks old, a month old, and so on. I would pay £10,000 for those albums and those pictures of me when I was little and with my parents and everything. This is what you're creating, but your clients don't know that. Your clients, so you guys sometimes expect or think that your clients have the knowledge they need to make decisions, and they don't. You being an not because they're stupid, but because they think what they read on websites and so on, this is a trap. They think that they can do research and so on, and they know everything. They don't. You are the expert, and you are the one who is in charge of guiding them and make them understand, look, when you buy your multi-aperture and you are buying your album, which I love, I'm very biased, you are buying something that your baby is going to have 30 years from now, 40 years from now. That is invaluable. So sure, get the digital images, because that's what you're going to put on your image profile next week. This is what you're going to share on social media, family and friends and all that. That's your gift to yourself. You enjoy this session that way. But 40 years from now, that's gone. That is gone, and your baby will have the album. And the only way for them to have the album is if you print it at Digitalab, because then you have the inks, the professional inks, you have the quality that will last. If you start thinking about your role and what you do in this sense, money and price is irrelevant. The problem is that you all feel the fear, and you all have this which is very real, or people are shopping around and they talk about prices and so on, and so you focus on prices and you focus on pricing, and the conversation that you have with clients is like around pricing and around how many images are on a package. They will be asking those questions. They are shopping around. Part of your job is to elevate the conversation. Imagine, Victoria, apologize again for using you, but I said to her, imagine what would happen if I was to be paid to do what my clients are saying. It would be a disaster, and not because my clients are stupid, absolutely not, but because they don't know what they don't know. And it's exactly the same for your clients. This is how you communicate value. They might not have thought about the fact that or they might not have the rational or the logical words in their mind that says, oh, my baby cannot talk. I should also consider, among all of the elements, the person on the other side should feel good to me. and the conversation I'm having with them should feel relaxed to me and everything, because this is what baby is going to experience. It will be in their hands for 4 hours. They will, if you expect your clients to come to you asking for those things, they will never do that, because they don't know. It's your job. It's your job 100% to elevate the conversation. This is what value is. For dog photographers, it's very similar, very similar. Okay, I'm keeping you here for way too long. So let's see if we can wrap up today quickly, and then again,
rather than saying you're keeping people, what you're actually doing is delivering value. You know, if you just listen to the last hour or so that you've actually been speaking about, you're actually over delivering, which is what you should do with your clients, G. So
thank you for reminding me of that. But the reason why I'm so passionate is because this is the only way for you to move forward without. What you guys do is amazing. It really is amazing. If I didn't have my, and this is the same for dog photographers, I have dogs who aren't with me anymore, and I wish I had a picture of them. I would pay anything to get that, never mind the albums with my parents and all that. But this is what you do, and you say that is what you do, but then do you actually believe it? Do you actually dig deep into what that means and how to explain that to clients? Maybe not. This is the time to do that. Even cats. I had a cat that I used to love when I was very, very little. So and I don't have images, maybe one. Let's wrap up today. So in short, even if you don't remember the numbers, people shop around a lot more, but they aren't looking for cheap necessarily. They discover on social media. Look at this, 70% will discover new brands now on social media, not on Google, but then they still use Google and they move across platforms. Omnichannel, that's what it means. People will pay more. This is what data is telling us, will pay more if they feel value. So it is in their mind, they're mindful about how they spend, but it's not the only thing they consider. Social media and Google are both necessary. This is what we were saying. People will spend a lot of time doing research. So if you don't have a strong way or workflow to follow up and stay in touch with your leads, they will go and book with someone else who is likely similar in prices to you. So I hope that when you leave today, you feel and you believe a little bit more that photography isn't dead, isn't dying. Your clients or potential clients don't wake up in the morning thinking, how can I steal from photographers? They are humans like you are. They are stressed and overwhelmed as you are. They are mindful on how they spend because they are as scared as you are. So before we go into the technical aspects and steps next time, you need to think about what we said today, these big changes. How can I be a human and communicate with people and generate leads and then communicate with them so that all of the rest can happen, so I can book them in and actually sell. I will keep this very short. So we've spoken a lot about, and get your questions ready for next time. We've spoken a lot about having to be on both platforms and so on. So social media and Google and so on. I fear that so many tell me that they believe they need to be creating content all the time and they need to become content creators to have a business. I would ask you to please understand that is not true. We need to be present on social media 100%. Some level of video creation is useful, but this is how social media works. Short form video is platforms, especially Instagram, TikTok is the same, need that video to keep users on the platform. So you're basically working for Meta or TikTok when you create short form content. It's addictive, keeps people on the platform. That's how social media makes money, these platforms. This is the reason why they will by default, or let's say Instagram will by default show your reels to a big part of, so you will have the people who see it will be 50% of them will be outside of your following, can change 40 to 50, but there will be a lot of non-followers seeing those reels. The way also videos work is they will be seen by people who watch relevant content. Careful, because there could be many photographers watching your reels. But there is another psychological trick there, which is you create a reel and you get 3,000 views or 2,000 or whatever it is, and it feels good. And then you post on your social media static on your feed, on your grid, and you get 2 likes and 1 is your grandmother. And you think, oh no, but I need to be making reels all the time. You don't have to. It's a trick. We know with marketing that the role of video is to bring traffic into your feed, or rather into your profiles. And then what actually converts people is the content you have on your profile. So first of all, start seeing content this way. Video is great, but it's not targeted. What you have on your profiles and pages is bound to have a much lower reach. Ignore that. It's fine. It's a way of filtering people. It's not, you shouldn't be chasing engagement. It's a way for those new eyeballs who get on your pages to go deeper if they want to. And if they don't want to, great, that's fine. You don't have, though, to be creating 17 reels a day. Think about what we are saying. So the main role of that should be to bring people onto your profile. You can do the same with advertising. You can do the same with advertising. Find the balance that works best for you. As long as you understand what these tools are for, there is no reason why you should be spending every waking hour creating content. It isn't sustainable. It is absolutely not sustainable. Most of you have a family, a business, and clients to take care of, and so on. If you feel burned out, and if you feel depression, and you feel you want to give up because you're seeing people asking you to create content all the time, remind yourself you shouldn't. And also remind yourself that the moment that you start seeing advice on social media from content creators, by default, they will tell you how to build a business and grow a business with content, because that's what they did. But that's not the only way to do that. Okay, I'm done. I am done for today. So our next call, I'm so into this conversation that I forgot the date of our next call. Let me remind you all. The 24th, so next week, same time, I will send out the link to join that call. If you cannot attend the next call, or if you want a recording of today, Alex, if you're okay with that, just email me. We'll put the recording somewhere and share the link with you. Any questions that you have in between the 2 calls, you can put them in the VIP Digitalab VIP group, email them over, whatever you prefer. But be excited, because these are good times. There's a lot happening, and I know it feels overwhelming, but these are good time. Next week, what we're going to do is to take all of this knowledge and actually put it into, okay, what do I do now with this? What do I actually do in my market, in my business, so that I am up to date and I can actually be effective. Okay, Alex, do you wanna say something?
Yeah, just a huge thank you to everyone for taking part. I think you know, just looking at the comments and stuff like that, great response from it. I think it's a hugely important topic. So a massive thank you to yourself, G, for putting these on for free for everybody. Like G said, if there's any questions or any follow-ups to anything in particular, drop them in the VIP group. If you're not a member of the Digitalab VIP group, just give us a little search, apply, and we'll let you in. Email myself or G in the meantime, and we'll look forward to next week.
Do you have the link of the VIP group?
I'll pop it in here, actually. I'll pop it in the group chat.
If you could do that, and I'll do... No, thank you all. In the chat, there is also my email address. If you need that for the recording, the VIP group is also good. And I wanted one more link in case you need it. Oh, thank you, Alex. I would recommend to wait before booking what I'm giving you. Wait and join our next call, because that would be the ideal way of doing this. If you after that, if you feel you want to have a bit more of a chat, the business assessment that we offer, thank you to Alex as well for supporting, and Digitalab for supporting with this, is free, so you can book that as well. But wait until we've done our next call, please, because a lot will be addressed there and you might be happy with what you have. I'll see you next week, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Alex.
Amazing. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.